need to know. I do this with almost all forms of schedules. I get excited about them. You need stuff on the calendar, man. That's true of life. You need stuff on the calendar. You need to be able to say, all right. So this is right now, it's a dreary, boring week. We've got nothing going on. But next week, it's on the calendar. Look right over there. Wednesday. Look at that. And then the bigger the thing is in your life, the more excited you get. It's like, oh, this is our trip to Japan. This is going to be awesome. But then sometimes it's simple. It's like, it's the game against Notre Dame. It's right there, November the 9th. Put it on the calendar. Come on. I'm a calendar. I drive a hard bargain with the calendar. My wife probably, she's probably in an interview would say, Jeff's really good about a lot of things, but man, that calendar, he's an ass. When we get the new calendars, Tom, I put her to work. I say, look, go look at 2025. I want you to put this on the calendar. We're gonna go to Phoenix. I told Steve that we would go up there and see his kid when he graduates. We're going to Phoenix in 2020. Get the calendar, hon. Put it on the calendar. I do that. So today's a big calendar day in the Cameron household. We get after it where we can start marking in all the games and the dates and all that good stuff, buddy. It's time to get it on.
Is there a reason that you don't get to the calendar and write stuff in? Does it have to be Christy?
Yeah, it's woman's work. But the other part of that is she has better handwriting. So admittedly, I like to look at something that is aesthetically pleasing when I check out the calendar. So that way I can look at it and go, this sloppy, this is almost like this isn't even an official plan if it was written by me or, God forbid, my children. Kids today can't write for nothing. Anyhow, so I caught myself. But you gotta have some nice looking writing. She has beautiful penmanship, and she's a bit of an artist. So, and she'll even like do little things, like little caricatures of things, like things that she's excited. Like if it's an awesome game, or if it's a certain weekend when friends are coming to town, or it's a vacation, there'll be like a drawing of something, whatever that is.
So my favorite thing with the calendar, this is and if Millar's listening, he'll know. When the schedule used to come out, and at times it was in February, it keeps getting earlier. I think it was all the way like late spring at one point. He would put it in his calendar in his office, and he had that U-shaped desk. You know, his computer was off to the right, but it was a giant U-shaped desk.
Very much so. Yep.
And at the middle of the U was his calendar that you could flip through, and you would take a pen and you would go into the Saturdays when he puts the schedule, and he goes, ass kicking, ass beating 2-0. Gonna beat that ass 3-0.
Yes,
no chance 3-1. You put little liner notes underneath the games, the dates.
He probably loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah. You could always tell it was you too, because to your point, he had good handwriting, and then it was kind of chicken scratchy, but usually it had the word ass in it some way.
Ass kicking, gonna beat that ass.
Yep.
40-0 for that ass. Something like that. Yeah. There was those types of things. Yeah. So we think we know. I mean, look, the whispers, they get out there. We kind of have an idea of what this schedule is going to be. I'll just say that. I mean, we have a pretty good idea of what the schedule is going to look like and all of those good things. I'm excited about that. I know that this is going to work out for us, Tom. I think we're going to have what we want here with the schedule. I think it's going to be a fun. There's always one thing I always notice whenever the schedule comes out for football. People will wring their hands about a portion of the schedule. Well, look, man, you don't get off scot-free. You're not playing Charleston Southern every week. There's going to be a stretch where you might have to play 2 hard games in a row or 2 in 3 weeks. That's just the way it works. That's the way it has to work. That's the way it should work. And when you know the opponents, which we do, you really, even if you try to craft it, remember Jimbo used to do this? This was a big deal. Jimbo used to do the thing where he would talk to me about it because programs can kind of push back to the ACC. They get the initial, we found out the inside dope is that they get the initial schedule and then they can say, no, we're not. No. And then he would, tell those sons of bitches at the AC. That's not my job, coach. Dos. And then he would, and you would write it out and it would be this whole thing. And then he would say, well, And I tried, but that's why we got Notre Dame Clemson back to back. That's what because they wanted us to play on Thursday, so we got to play on Thursday. And so then there it was. You would give to get. That's the way it worked. You'd give to get. You'd say, I don't want to play this game right after this game. That'd be 3 straight road games. We don't want to do that. And they'd say, okay, but we need to put your ass out there on a Thursday night or a Monday or a Friday night. I don't want. Why? And then you're in the whole thing, and then you're like, well, because coach, I can't give you everything you want. Believe me, on line 2 is Clemson, and line 3 is Miami, and line 4 is Louisville, and they don't like to have this, and this as well. And I can't concede all of that. So here's what we got: pick amongst these 4 versions, and this is what you get. Now, it doesn't work exactly like that, but kind of for the better teams, kind of.
Oh, well, I thought as I understood it, at least in those days. Now, the ACC is very different now. It's weaker than ever, so who knows? But in those days, you had one veto, like one straight up, no, not happening.
You can just straight up, we are not playing that game there. Correct.
Right, on that part of the calendar. And then however many times you got to go back and forth, I think was maybe determined somewhat on how much they liked you or how much you were valuable to the conference.
That is correct.
I got to imagine that when revisions came out, you're like, all right, we're going to revise, and they send it. Like they count down in the league office in those days, 2012, 2013, 3, 2, and then they see the caller ID, and it says 850-644, and it's Jimbo's office, and they're like, there it is, there he is. Please hold for coach. Yeah, I'm sure that happened probably more than any other coach, and more than probably the next 2 coaches combined in his time. They did us a favor last year, though. I don't know that they'll do that again, but last year's schedule lined up very, very nicely, and we navigated that thing beautifully.
By the way, before I get carried away, we can always circle back to schedule and all the fun that, it's like Christmas. You get to find out where we're going and when. I get so excited about the time of the year. I'm like, ooh, so we're going to be there in October, are we? Well, you know what happens there in October? That's the Get Naked Festival. Like, oh, that's right, it is. That's the same way. It is. That's right. Call Tina. All right, so here's by the way, yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. And that was a satisfying ding ding because Florida State's depth and length and the waves they run at you paid off big time. Syracuse got tired. Woo, they were tired. Couldn't catch their breath, couldn't get their feet underneath them. You got to about the 12-minute mark of that second half, and it was goodnight, Irene. They were exhausted. I didn't feel bad, but if one were going to, you would have felt bad for Judah Mintz and J.J. Starling, who were really good early, but then by the end of the game just looked like they were sucking wind, having a hard time. And it showed because as that stretch rolled out in the second half, and it's a hell of a run that Florida State goes on by the tune of 22-5. And what was once a 3-point game turns into an 85-65 rout over the next 6 minutes or so, and that final score is 85-69. Florida State is 12-7, which in and of itself isn't great, but 6-2 in the ACC is, and now all of a sudden North Carolina rolls into town. And by the way, if Virginia beats NC State tonight at the JPJ, the John Paul Jones, then the FSU North Carolina game will be a battle of the top 2 teams in the ACC. That's the way you could phrase it. You could, if you were so inclined, you could phrase it that way. You could say that the game against North Carolina is a battle of the top 2 teams in the ACC, and nobody can correct you. That record-wise, that is correct in conference. So there you go. That's something. Maybe you win it, and then you've got a very loud ding, 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 ding. But I warn you that a win over North Carolina is not going to elicit a choo-choo.
I thought, however, after Saturday's loss, that if they did win last night, they did go on the road, they did get that win, and Syracuse hadn't lost it at home yet. But if you do that, then we're going to have the energy back and the pep in our step Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday leading into the North Carolina game. And that's exactly where we are right now. What's interesting about Florida State is I know the record, especially losing to Lipscomb and USF and SMU. These aren't positive developments for the program.
No, they set you back a ways.
Even with the Lipscomb loss, the setback against Lipscomb, you are 8-2 in your last 10 basketball games. And you actually have a chance to finish with 20 regular season wins. You could finish with 20 wins in the regular season before you get to the ACC tournament. You got 12 games to go, and they aren't against Murderers Row either. A lot of the games that are important are at home, like a second game against Miami. Again, North Carolina would be a monumental upset if you played it there, here, in a neutral site. Wouldn't matter. But still, opportunities galore for Florida State to finish in an unfathomable place from even a month ago and certainly from the preseason, which would be 20 regular season wins. And at that point, if you can get there and you have 14 conference wins at that point, I mean, your net might be down in the 50s, and at least we could be talking.
Yeah, and that's all I want. I want them to give themselves an opportunity to be playing really meaningful games as it pertains to the NCAA tournament and their chance of somehow kicking down the door after really a terrible start to the year, which was a continuation. See, the weight of that, you felt the weight of that even more because obviously the last 2 seasons have been terrible. And in Florida State basketball, we know just from the numbers, if we're going to peek behind the curtain, everybody, we know if you publish a story on warchant.com about the Florida State basketball team, especially earlier this year when they're losing, and, that's on the heels of last year's basketball season, which was on the heels of the year before's basketball season, you crickets. Tom would go look at the numbers and he'd be like, Jeff, 4 people read this article yesterday. 4. We're going to stop posting articles on this basketball team. We're getting 4 views, so we can't do that anymore. But now, okay, see, so they wrestled control of the narrative. They wrestled it back, and now you're mildly interested. Now the numbers reveal you're mildly interested. You're not riveted. This isn't a movie you have to see by any means, but you are mildly interested. The preview has caught your attention. You might mention it, over coffee. You might, Ted, you see that preview for the new De Niro movie? I think it looks interesting. It's going to be all right. That's kind of where we're at right now with Florida State. Somebody brings it up in the break room. You saw the Noles win last night. Yeah, I read that this morning on warchant.com. I didn't watch the game, but it looked like they really had a good second half. Maybe I'll go Saturday. Maybe I'll go Saturday. I think I will too. I'm thinking about it, Keith. That's kind of where we've graduated to.
Is that De Niro movie? Is Scorsese directing it? Let me guess.
In that case, we're going.
Is Joe Pesci in it? Are they doing de-aging again? I'm sure it's going to be outstanding. It's going to be great. A story never told before. Maybe it's about the Italian mob. Maybe it's about an aging mobster.
Pesci was not in Killers of the Flower Moon, sir. So stop with your blaspheme, and let's move forward.
Was he in The Irishman?
He was in The Irishman, but that's some years ago now. Yeah. And by the way, The Irishman was good. So again, moot point. What I would tell you is that you've now at least sparked the interest. People are interested. It's good. We're back. So I'm excited about it. And I want that for Leonard. I know that that's not really the angle, but that's what I want. And moreover, I want them to make the damn tournament. So I haven't completely given up on that. Let's just put it that way. I'd like them to make the damn tournament. It's a much more interesting tournament if we're in it. Obviously. I mean, I'm going to bet on it either way, but I'd like them to have a chance to be in the tournament.
Well, the fun part is if Florida State were to make the tournament, anything is possible in our first game. Anything. A blowout for, a blowout against, you just don't know. But the good thing is the committee has shown, I know we're talking about committees and selections again, but the committee has shown in the basketball realm in the past that if there is a line of delineation, good or bad, at any point in the season, and they say this is just a different team, either they got a player back from injury or something clicked, they will reward you for recency. And if Florida State does play well down the stretch in the ACC, gets to 20 wins, again, that's just a big mental number for the committee to consider. 13, 14 wins in conference. I think it would be actually 14 to get to 20 overall wins. And you can look at New Year's and say the entirety of 2024. They've been a really good basketball team. You do have a compelling case. Now, you could get ahead of the curve by winning on Saturday, but there's a ton of winnable games. This is not a loaded league. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be hard for the committee to leave a top 2 or top 3 ACC team out of the NCAA tournament if Florida State can finish the job that high in the standings this season.
I'm gonna stop short here of saying this, but I am thinking it in a weird way. I think they have to beat North Carolina, and then we're going to seriously open the door to a larger discussion, Tom. Like beat North Carolina this weekend, and watch how this changes the conversation. You're not in. You're still a ding ding, but all of a sudden you beat North Carolina and you've won 9 of your last 12. And you're playing you're one game back in the ACC with a head-to-head win over the team in first. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, people are like, whoa, okay. Like weird things enter into this discussion at that point, especially if you just keep winning afterwards. You can't win that game and then fall on your face. You get the drift. But if you win the game, then you know what happens? Those conversations that piss you off at the end of the year when they pertain to other programs, like this is, we've all watched this happen before. Well, I know. I mean, that was a tough loss to Lipscomb, and that was a terrible loss to USF. But remember, they were without so-and-so, and they didn't have so-and-so. And since that time, they've changed their lineup, and then this happened, and that happened, right? And, that's how that conversation gets born when you win a game like this and then go on a run, and then they'll, magically want to forgive those other games that, in theory, are supposed to count as much.
Oh, sure. And I see Life Spectator. He's talking about Clemson's resume last year, and it would look something very similar to Florida State's if FSU was to take care of business in the games they're supposed to as they finish the season. You can see it there, 23-10, 14-6, ACC third, and they're ding-ding bound.
Yeah, but they got screwed. Clemson got screwed last year, but anyhow, go ahead. Yeah,
they did. And the other thing I'd say is it's not about the last 10 games. I understand that they're trying to weigh it all equally, but Florida State, if they get to that point, that means for 3 months, essentially, 2.5, 3 months, they would have been completely different and completely consistent in a way that they weren't in the non-conference, because they had some good wins in non-conference, but they had some awful losses. But then
the Colorado win was a nice win, yeah.
Yeah, from that point forward, Florida State became this other thing, and I think that would enter into the discussion. Does it mean that they're definitely in? No. And does it mean that North Carolina would help greatly? Of course, I agree with you. Let's just win the game on Saturday, have that place be torn apart. Yeah. Like it used to be, tearing apart the seams for games like this. Get that win, put it in your back pocket, and see what happens. But they're interesting again. To your point, like these games are not only watchable because it's our gig and we love Florida State basketball, but because they mean something now. Florida State has earned it to where these games mean something again, which is great.
Sometimes it's as simple as you're just excited for kids that have kind of not quit, got it together, played well, started to win some games, and are rewarded for that dedication and focus and intensity and competitiveness, right? Like the teams of the last couple of years kind of quit, kind of just went through the motions, just kind of sucked and then continued to suck and then sucked some more. And then we're like, man, all this sucking, I can't. But that not now. I know, phrasing, Jeff. But it's true. Like we were washing our hands of the team a year ago pretty early. Like, oh, so you're not going to try. Right. Okay. Well, we're done here. Luckily, we had crazy expectations for football, so we could just take over that content and just refocus it back onto FSU football at that time. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Excellence defines us, so we'll never let orthopedic pain and injury define you. TOC is a physician-led team of fellowship-trained specialists providing the highest level of orthopedic care in the region. With 12 centers of excellence and TOC Now urgent care clinics, our patients access affordable, expert care fast. TOC, only experts. Schedule an appointment at teamtoc.com.
Zaxby's Sensation Salad is so much more than a plain old salad. It's a salad, which begs the question, at what point does a salad stop being a salad and become a salad? Is it when you add Zaxby's fried chicken to it? Crunchy wontons? Asian slaw? Citrus vinaigrette? Teriyaki glaze? Sweet and spicy sauce? Or is it when you top it all with a handmade perfectly fried egg roll? Without a doubt, the egg roll. The sensation salad, only at Zaxby's.
I'm Greg Tish, and I'm here to tell you about TCC's first semester. In the fall of 1966, about 300 students were expected to enroll at the brand new Tallahassee Junior College. A total of 698 enrolled, exceeding everyone's expectations. The campus was not finished, though, so classes took place in Rickards High School and then Godby High School. Today, TCC has 7 campuses and enrolls around 15,000 students annually.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Man, I just got a text from my wife. She wants me to cook dinner and then snuggle on the couch next to a roaring fire.
So what's the problem, Dave? You already got the new grill and you're a great cook.
I got one major problem. We don't have a fireplace.
Man, that's an easy fix. Just call Hearth and Patio. They got a lot of fireplaces that can help you for your romantic evenings. Wood, gas, electric, and a ton of different sizes, man. Call Hearth and Patio today, 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio. Ignite that spark in your life.
Chronic pain can be very bossy. What do I mean? It tells you what you can or can't do. Sometimes it even has the audacity to keep you from working.
I missed almost 3 weeks of work and I was no longer able to play tennis. The pain was really debilitating. Sometimes I missed Thanksgivings.
Abby was ready to put the bossy bad back in her past. And that's when she discovered QC Kinetics and their non-surgical treatments for pain. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine with tens of thousands of satisfied patients, people who have experienced real lasting relief without drugs and without surgery.
It has just been the most life-changing, amazing experience. Not only life-changing, but career-saving. I get to continue to do the career that I love. I'm playing tennis again.
Stop letting that joint pain boss you around. Start with a free consultation at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
Hello, I'm Dana Brooks.
And I'm Jimmy Basic of Basic Brooks Law Offices.
Traffic cameras are everywhere these days.
And Basic Brooks is partnered with RoadProof to get access to all their vast network of cameras.
This is a valuable tool to help us search for evidence that could help you if you were involved in an accident.
If you've been hurt in an accident, call Basic Brooks and we'll find out if the proof you need is out there.
Call Basic Brooks and we'll do everything we can to help you come back stronger.
Call us now at 850-777-7777.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Back to Jeff.
You know, again, it's a little bit like Christmas. We get excited. I told you in the Cameron household, big calendar guy. So my wife's got it. So, Tom, this will be good. Later today, 5 o'clock, the reveal, right? The live look in and celebration on Warchant. There, you see it right there on Warchant TV. And the reason this is important is not just because I work for Warchant, but also, Tom, I will put my wife in front of a computer and have her watch the show with the pen and the calendar because I'm taking Bryce to see Neil deGrasse Tyson tonight. So we'll be at Ruby Diamond taking that in. So I'll put her to work, and she'll watch Warchant TV tonight.
So what time does he speak?
7 o'clock, I think, 7:30, something like that.
You got time to watch the show with her. You guys could make it a family experience.
No, I'm going to let her go ahead and do that. I'll take him out to eat. She can get to work, and we'll go to dinner.
Okay. You're missing out.
I'll watch it on my phone. But yeah, no. I'm not everybody else who's not going to Neil deGrasse Tyson tonight. There you go. You watch it. You watch. This is your day. This is going to be awesome. No, I want to see it. I'm excited about it. I think I got a pretty good idea. And we already know certain things. Like, for example, we know, I saw Aslan and Corey were talking about it yesterday, that Duke is Friday, October the 18th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now we know, is it 6 opponents, I do believe?
Well, we know Georgia Tech, August 24th in Ireland. We know Boston College, Monday, September the 2nd. We know Memphis is Saturday, September the 14th. We know that Duke is now October the 18th. And then we know Saturday, November the 9th is Notre Dame. And then we also know November 23rd is Charleston Southern.
7. We know 7. That's backwards. There you go. 7. So 5 more opponents to be spread out over 8 weekends. 8 weekends. I really feel like, just looking at this, and Ira and I had some fun with this on Monday during this match, we knew with as many bye weeks as there are this season, Florida State could not escape a weeknight game in addition to the Monday night. Like, it just wasn't going to happen.
So you get 2. Yeah.
Right. So you're not going to have Florida State play Miami on a weeknight. If it's not Labor Day weekend, they're not going to play on a Thursday or Friday. So we knew that it was going to be either Duke or SMU. One of those 2 road trips was going to be played on a weeknight. I really feel like, just looking how you're playing Duke on a Friday night, that following weekend, the 26th of October, has to be one of your big 2 home games. Either Clemson, right?
100%. We're on the same page. That game is either going to be the Miami game
on the road or Clemson.
Or it's going to be Clemson. That is correct. What do you want? What do you want? So reverse it. Let's do it this way. So that means, just by judging when the Notre Dame game is, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You look at it now. So if either that, would you rather have, say, go back before? Well, there's 4 buys. This is a crazy year, folks. Let's get this out here on the table for you. Because, we get 4 because of the week 0. And then we already had, is it 3?
Yeah, 3.
No, but it's 4 weekends. Sorry, 4 weekends. Yeah, because we're playing on a Friday and a Monday. So we have 4 weekends where we can just watch other people play football and go do whatever we want to do. You can go get loose, get drunk at a bar, watch everybody play, and not have to worry about anything going on with your team. Because of the Friday game, because of the Monday game, and because of the 2 other bye weeks.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So you got plenty of watching opportunities.
Yeah, man, plan for a roadie.
The thing is, do you want Clemson early or late? Do you want Miami early or late? Assuming that they're not going to stack them up. Assuming that they're not going to put them on the 26th of October, the weekend after Notre Dame, and they're going to put Notre Dame smack dab in the middle some way, somehow. Like, if it's in a 3 games in 4 week span where you play those 3 teams, that would be difficult. That would not be ideal. But if they put one in early October or late September, and the other one on the 26th, which one would you want early? Which one would you want late? I think I would want Miami early this year, oddly enough. Usually you want them late because they've quit. But I think you want them early, and then you want Clemson a little bit later, because that thing may already have imploded by the time that you get to them at the end of October.
Coin flip, I don't care either way. I think they're both hard-fought games. I don't care if we play Clemson in that early test. Do you get Clemson, say, before Duke, or Miami before Duke, is what you're asking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bye somewhere mixed in there. I would assume that let's say you name the big opponent. Let's say it's you said you wanted Miami first.
Yep. This year, yeah.
So say it's Miami. My guess is you would get a bye after that game. And then from there, you got I got to look at the calendar. You got Duke after that bye is what you would have. Right? Because we know the date of that.
Correct. Yeah. I would think Duke pairs with a bye on the 12th, I would guess. They're not going to give you a short week. In a year like this, why would you bother to have a short week? Yeah. Right.
So the bye would be on the 12th of October.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think you and I can safely say that that's either the game before that is either going to be Clemson or Miami, and then there's going to be a bye, and then you're going to play Duke. And then whoever you didn't play, the Clemson or Miami, would be coming up pretty soon after that, after the Duke game. It would probably be that following week, if not that unless it's North Carolina. We consider North Carolina kind of a big one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well,
well, they're not very. Yeah,
it's a game where they're going to put more dollars on the ticket stub to get into Doak. There's certain games where your tickets, if you get this, your dad's had season tickets forever. Like some games it might say $49 face value. Some games it might say $79 face value or $99 face value. I think North Carolina will carry a higher monetary value, but I don't know about the challenge. Like in some ways, I think Boston College might be more challenging than the North Carolina game this year.
Let me ask you a question. I don't believe, and we know when that game is being played. So following the path on our discussion here about the way this is going to look, I don't believe that Florida State would have to play some semblance of so I'm thinking like there's no way they would have, let's say it's Clemson, and then you're not going to play Clemson before you play Notre Dame, and you're not going to play Miami before you play Notre Dame. They'll put somebody between that game. That'll be North Carolina or whomever, right? That'll be somebody different.
Probably so. I think, again, you're looking at this, you've got an extra bye to play with. It's so weird this year because you have a week 0 game and then you've got 2 others. So I would think
Notre Dame is the 9th.
They could give you a November bye. They might give you the 16th or the 2nd as a
I think you're correct. I bet you that they could give you the one after Notre Dame. We played them on the 9th. That would make sense.
I think so. Or the 2nd. I think you're going to get a November bye. You might get one a month. There you go. That's the easiest way to put it. You might get one bye week a month, which is just, I mean, it's bizarre, but it's what every so often you get 2 byes a year. And this year, because of the week 0 game, it's 3. It's just
so
crazy.
In some order, again, you can take Clemson or Miami, and they're interchangeable in this discussion. But what this means, in my mind, is that you're going to have a combination of, and again, if I say Miami, you can put Clemson. If I say Clemson, you can put Miami. But you're going to have a combination of Clemson, another ACC opponent, probably North Carolina, and Notre Dame. Or Miami, North Carolina, Notre Dame. Like that, you're going to have a sequence where we're always trying to identify the grouping. Yep. Who's the tough. So that will be based on what we already know on the schedule. This is some grouping of that ilk is what we're looking at in all likelihood today at 5:00. That's what we're going to find out. And you can't avoid it. Like, I know people will get mad that there's just no way, given the schedule, to avoid a stretch at least of 2 or 3 like grouped together pretty hard games. But that's fine. That's fine. Look, North Carolina's going to suck.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing to figure would be that we have a September 21st date with either Clemson or Miami. I think that's too early. I think what you're seeing from a conference that's as thin as the ACC over the years is they like those games to take place a little bit later in the schedule.
Correct.
So, the 21st is the week after Memphis. That's week 4 of the college football schedule. I think that's just a skosh early for one of those 2 opponents to be off the schedule. I think you're going to look one in October, one in November in all likelihood.
Yeah, I think that we agree on that. So what is because I'm trying to, I'm double checking the dates. When the only September games we know for sure are Boston College and Memphis, right?
That's correct. With a high likelihood, extremely high likelihood that you have a bye week on the 7th between those 2 games. So you're burning one of your 3 at that point. You go Ireland, Monday night, Labor Day week. They're not going to make you play a short week after going across the pond and then playing a Monday night.
So you get a bye there.
Yep.
Then you play Memphis. Mm-hmm. We don't know what would be the week after Memphis, but you're theorizing it will not be one of your better games. So that would be SMU, Cal, something like that.
And SMU could be sneaky now. I'm not trying to discount that. That could be a sneaky game, but it's just in terms of ratings, marquee value. Yeah, I don't think the ACC is going to burn one of the big dogs on the 21st of September.
Yeah, I think SMU or Cal goes there. I think we got this down. We should release the schedule on the Jeff Cameron Show right now. I think we got this down. I think that's right. I'm just looking at the way you would arrange this, what would make sense. And, of course, I'm doing this by the seat of my pants, so I'm not factoring anybody else's schedule in because I don't care about anybody else. I'm just looking at Florida State. But I do think we're going to be pretty close to right here. We'll check the tape tomorrow, but I think we're going to be pretty close to right here. And I would tell you that I also Who do you want there? You want SMU or Cal?
Cal. Yeah.
You don't want a road game there?
No, I would take the win over Cal. Let's get our house in order. We're not in any routine at that point. I'll be like a coach for a moment. There is no routine to the beginning of the season. You go different country, Monday night, bye week. Let's get right and get on a schedule here for Memphis and Cal. That's how you ease on in to get into a groove.
So you would get Memphis. We had the bye week before the Memphis game.
Yep.
Then you'd get, in your perfect world, then you'd get Cal.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe, given what we think the ACC is going to be, then you'd probably get SMU right after Cal.
Yeah, or North Carolina at home.
Because you start the year with 2 ACC games, so you already got 2 under your belt. So that would either be SMU or North Carolina. That is right.
Yeah.
And I bet you it's going to be SMU. I think that's what's going to happen. And that would be kind of cool. So you would go Cal at home and then turn around and go SMU on the road. Only because you already had 2 ACC games. Everybody else will be playing an ACC game that weekend. You take it on over to SMU. Let's go, buddy.
And then the week after that's one of your big 2 matchups, followed by a bye week and Duke.
Correct. That's correct. It's either Clemson or it's Miami. And I want it to be Clemson. You want it to be Miami. I want it to be Clemson.
I understand what history says about Miami in the month of November, and I like that history of Miami in the month of November. I just kind of feel like this year you don't want them to be all the way up to speed with a quarterback who's pretty decent. I get it. Game day management's not going to get better in October, September. It doesn't matter the month.
Correct.
But yeah, I think I might want to run into them a little bit earlier, breaking it. I mean, it's just another new quarterback, offense, all these moving parts. I think it would be better.
Yeah, but they're breaking in a new quarterback. It's all right. I'm fine either way. You're going to have a 3-game stretch. Final ribbon on this for now. You're going to have a 3-game stretch you don't like. Everybody does. I've figured this out over the years. Nobody avoids a 3-game stretch that they don't like. There's always going to be a stretch where you're like, that could get dicey. Everybody says it. And then I'm like, well, yeah, but you're not going to be able to avoid that. And some teams like Florida. I still got the remnants of all that phlegm from sickness, and it comes out when I think about Florida's schedule. Schedule day at Florida is no fun.
There it is leading up to our game. It's on the screen right now.
Oh, my Lord. That is so cold-blooded. So, I just got done saying everybody's got at least a 3-game stretch where they're like, I don't know. I don't like that. Now you're Billy Napier, your Sunbelt Billy. You got no chance to keep your job. You and the athletic director are about to be out of your job. You already know that. Both of you guys better dine while you can at all the finest, because after this year, that's it. That's all. You've got Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State.
Yeah, really,
the
you know
last
what?
5 games.
Do whatever the hell you want to do on Saturday, October the 26th. Get away, travel the world, whatever you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because when you come home, it's not going to be pretty.
If you're a Florida fan, administrator, coach, player, Saturday, October the 26th, start stretching. Start stretching. You better get limbered up, kids. The prison run begins the following week. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The second phase of construction for the Railroad Avenue Improvements Project started this week. For now, roads are open with some lane closures. Only 2-way traffic flow will be allowed along Railroad Avenue. The goal of this project is to increase the appeal while making the area more functional. The second phase of this project is expected to last several more months, but the city is working to help increase visibility for the affected business owners. Most work will be happening Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturday from 8 to 6. The city expects all phases of the project to be completed by late summer of 2025. A man, Stephen Slatton, 38, was arrested last weekend after abusing his daughter at a middle school sports event. On Saturday, deputies were called to Cherokee Bluff Middle School. Slatton was angry that his daughter did not win a wrestling match hosted at the school and punched her in the back, slapped her in the face, and picked her up by the ears, lifting her up over his head. The girl was not seriously injured. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. High temperatures reach up to 77. Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected and foggy tonight. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 64. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 76 degrees.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. 93.
We could do a W's and L's for Florida the day before we do a W's and L's for Florida State. First game of the year, they play Miami. Somebody you hate's going to lose. That's the best part about when those two play. That game is in Gainesville. You favoring Miami in that game?
I think so. I think also it would be more valuable to us if Florida won, because Florida's going to catch a bunch of L's later in the year.
Oh, lots of L's. They're all over that schedule, buddy.
So if somehow they won that game, 20-17, and it's a sloppy slugfest and it's awful football, and Florida somehow wins, then it puts Miami in a position where Cristobal is on a hotter seat, and Sunbelt Billy's already in trouble as it is. So I think actually in that instance, a Gator win would cause more favorable conditions for us to recruit in the state of Florida.
To my Florida friends that are out there, there are a few of you that I call friends. You guys make your tailgating plans for the game Saturday, September the 7th against Samford. Get your coolers ready. Get together. Go see you a guaranteed win, okay? Make sure you get that one on the ledger. Mark that. Get that game in. Come hell or high. That might be the toughest ticket for the University of Florida fan this year is the Samford game. It's, how people like to bring their kids when they're indoctrinating their children into their fandom. So you want to take them early on to a game that's less attended and easier to deal with, less of a threat of some drunken guy screaming at the top of his lungs with F-bombs left and right because they didn't get a first down. And you want them to leave the stadium with a good taste in their mouth. That September the 7th matchup against Samford is your ticket there, guys. Get your little kids and take them to that game. It's the only game on the entire schedule that I can guarantee Florida wins.
It's the only game where and not just it's the only game on the entire schedule that I guarantee they'll win. It's like the only one, like all the other ones that I could mention, you're like, I don't know. Like some of them are no chance. The others are not looking good. And there's maybe two kind of, well, yeah, maybe. Like UCF. You sure they're going to beat UCF? No guarantees.
No, I'm not sure at all. I think, if I'm ranking the games that they need to get, it's Samford.
Samford's number one.
And then it's Mississippi State. You better go beat Mississippi State.
That game is at Mississippi State. The cowbells are loud. I don't know, man. Don't just roll on into Davis Wade, Tom. Expect to walk out of Starkville with a victory.
Were Davis and Wallace related? I've always wondered.
Wallace Wade and Davis Wade? I don't know. But you don't roll on it. We know you don't roll on into Wallace Wade, but you certainly can't roll on into Davis Wade in Stark Vegas and expect to get out of there with a victory. I don't know. Okay. I'll give you Samford and Mississippi State. That's 2 wins. And one of those 2 is very iffy. Very iffy. Let that be a night game at Davis Wade. We'll see. But I'm not going to give you UCF. That's like a gimme putt. I'm not giving you that putt. That's 3.5 feet. It's not 2.5 feet. It's 3.5 feet. I'm not sure you're going to make that putt. I'm going to make you putt it. I'm going to go ahead and make you putt. Go ahead and putt that one.
Respectfully, I think the UCF putt's about a 5.5 footer.
I mean, I'd like to think that the Kentucky game at Ben Hill Griffin might be a 4-footer, but the way Kentucky emasculated Florida a year ago, I mean, anything they wanted. So that's a toughie. But again, let's say you survive, and I'll move on, but I like having fun at their expense. Let's say you survive the early part of the season, which is Miami, Samford, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. In that order, those are the weeks. We already know it. That's what you got before you get to the bye. Let's say, for argument's sake, Florida, and again, huge benefit of the doubt here. Let's say they're 3-1 going to the bye, all right?
They're what? Going into the bye?
3-1. Because they could beat Miami, kind of a coin toss game. They will beat Samford. They host Texas A&M. They always play Texas A&M well for some reason. And they're at Mississippi State. I'm going to give them, I'm going to say best case scenario, 3-1. You're a Florida fan, you think you're 4-0, but I'm giving you 3-1. Then you got a bye week, and then it's UCF. October the 5th, there's a chance, and even a decent one, you're celebrating your last win of the year. Because you're going to Tennessee and Knoxville for the Shigadig-Doo there against Tennessee in good old Rocky Top. Probably a loss. You do host Kentucky. Enjoy that bye week, because then you got Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and at Florida State.
Is it fair to say, is it fair for me to speculate that perhaps Real Talk 93's fall Saturday ratings book might be the biggest they've ever had? Because I think a lot more Tallahassee may be tuning in to what happens on fall Saturdays at their tailgates just to have a laugh. It's almost like going to the Comedy Channel on the satellite radio. I
just wish Mick Hubert were still doing the game so we could hear that devastation.
Oh, no. Again.
5 weeks in a row. It's been a tough day for the Gators.
Nat, what do you think? Do we have a better chance today? No.
Oh, man, it's fun to experience that, to sit back. Hey, but this is on a serious note. While Florida's having that season, this upcoming loser fest that they're going to go through, and then having to start over. And having to start over as often as they do is devastating. I know, we're all heartbroken. All the starting over constantly, starting from scratch. There you go. That's what you got. They'll be doing that. You're strengthening your position. Man, don't fool around and let us go down to Miami and win that game this year while Florida's doing what they're doing, and then you get over and beat Miami again in a pseudo-transition year. You should own the damn state. You should dominate at that point in recruiting. Now, we had a good class. It wasn't an elite class. You got to start cashing that in now, especially if you continue with what you've done here. You know what I want to talk? I want to bring this up. There seems to be real teeth to this idea that, and to me, this is a tough one just because of how quirky and strange it's been. But when I think about recruiting, there seems to be real talk about whether or not Brian Kelly wants to leave for that Michigan job if Harbaugh departs. And that might have to do with it's not a great fit. Doesn't feel like it's a great fit there. Doesn't feel like he's one of them.
So
that's all I'm saying.
So would he show up at his introductory press conference and say, "Hello, my family. Hello, Midwestern family, as always.
Would he do it?
Happy to be here at Michigan."
Yeah. Would they do it? Yeah, I know. Jeff Cameron Show rolls on. Stay with 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Stephanie, and I work for Paul's Termite and Pest Control. I've been working here for over 11 years, and to say making the switch to Paul's has been life-changing is an understatement. First, we provide a service that truly helps people protect the health of their families and pets from disease-carrying bugs and rodents, plus their homes from destructive termites. So when I go to work every day, what I do really makes a difference. Second, I have grown professionally in the company. I was hired by Paul's in customer service, and now I'm the customer service leader. While my responsibilities have grown, so have my pay and benefits. It's such a blessing to work with friends doing something that helps people, plus being well paid. If you're in a job that provides minimal pay and satisfaction, we have openings right now. Paul's employees receive many benefits like CHP, 401k, paid vacations, and holidays. We work Monday through Friday and provide extensive training so no experience is required. Call today to learn how we can improve your life.
Keeping power reliable and affordable here in Florida is our most important commitment. At Duke Energy, we're working across our communities, strengthening our systems, rerouting power to help avoid outages, and adding proven innovations that will help make the grid stronger and more secure today and ready for tomorrow. Because Florida deserves more reliable and affordable power, and we're determined to deliver it. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah.
You got one of those new cars that keeps you in the lane when you're driving or slams on the brakes if you get too close to another car?
No, I don't like that fancy technology stuff.
A lot of people don't. It's called lane departure warning and forward collision alert. And all that fancy stuff is attached to your windshield. So if it gets damaged, you need a qualified company like Seminole Auto Glass to replace and recalibrate your windshield. But don't call your insurance company. Just go to SeminoleAutoglass.com and upload your insurance card. Hey, Jimmy.
What?
Did you know that Teslas come with a unique new car smell? They call it Elon Musk.
Oh.
Better call Seminole.
Social Kitchen is now open on Cary Forest Parkway near Ology Northside, Tallahassee's only premier market where you can receive the famed Snake River Farm steaks and premier meats. Social Kitchen also has chef-prepared meals and sides ready to serve in just under 20 minutes. Perfect for those very busy springtime weeks, weekends, you name it. Hosting some people at the house. Hey, Social Kitchen also has build-your-own charcuterie boards and catering. Stop in and visit Social Kitchen today or visit us online at socialkitchentlh.com. socialkitchentlh.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have won 7 straight against the Flyers at Wells Fargo Center. They're minus 108 today at Philadelphia, minus 112, 6.5 under the total. The Flyers looking to win. Shop with your order right now at omahasteaks.com/VSIN. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Hello, I'm Dana Brooks.
And I'm Jimmy Basic.
Traffic cameras are everywhere, providing valuable evidence if you've been in an accident.
But if you can't access that evidence, it could just be your word against theirs.
Basic Brooks is partnered with Roadproof to have access to all their traffic camera footage. If you've been hurt in an accident, give us a call and we'll find out if the proof you need is out there.
Let us find your video evidence so you can come back stronger. Call us now at 850-777-7777.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5.
Warchant TV, appointment television. Sit down, watch as the watch along for schedule release it gets underway. Tom and I kind of theorize what we think it's going to be, and I bet we nailed it. Feel pretty good about that. Feel like we've got the schedule already kind of worked out, and I like it. And I said, by the way, I had a nice chat today with my buddy Ingram from the Battle's End, and Tom, he and I were talking about the off season, and I got to be careful what I say, but I just told him that last night, while I was watching the basketball game, while I was watching the Noles get a road win, and once again allow us to. I had my laptop with me, and I was kind of just going through, and I was telling you this last hour. I was theorizing where I thought the games would end up today, and where who we're going to play when and what sequence and all that good stuff. And then when I did that, because I know you announced on social media that Thursday's show will be the W's and L's show that we do. So tomorrow's Jeff Cameron show will have W's and L's, also appointment listening and viewing. And I thought, normally Tom and I do that, and we really haven't given it a lot of thought. Part of the fun of that first W's and L's a lot of time is it's just flying by the seat of the pants. The first few really are, because we haven't seen any of the new kids that are on the roster. We don't know what they're going to look like, how they're going to fit in. Knock on wood, nobody gets hurt, but you're not considering injuries or anything at that point. So your vantage point, everything changes. The way you view things change once you get out there in spring, which isn't that far away, and you get into spring practice and you're like, oh, this guy's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Look at the steps forward. Look at the progress made by this individual. Look at the steps back or the lack of progress made by this individual. Those kinds of things will inform your opinion about W's and L's as the process goes on. But this first one, just kind of, all right, here's the schedule. Now we know it willy-nilly. What do we think? But I did it last night, Tom. I did it on my laptop while watching the Noles go on that huge run to put the game away. And I just kind of, knowing all of the players we've brought in, it's been a backloaded offseason. It's been a weird backloaded transfer portal run. We've got, remember the first few, like the whole first week that the transfer portal was available to us, we were like, are we going to get anybody worth a damn here? What are we doing? Felt like it was slipping away from us. And then towards the back end, you're like, oh, man, not only are we going to get some people, we're going to get some real dudes now. We got some guys with real potential. When you're bringing in, an Alabama running back and receiver, an LSU receiver, you're bringing in, like all these guys we started to get excited about. And then the defensive line we found out was going to remain, at least those that are eligible, to be intact. It is, right? You got Farmer back. You got Jackson. You got these guys now. So you got excited. And so I started doing it. And I pride myself typically. I feel like I'm a realist. I'm easily able to digest and accept that some seasons are a step back from the previous season. That's just the way it's got to be. Well, that's especially true when you go undefeated in the previous season. Like, you don't walk into 2015 after 2013 and 2014 and say, we're going to sustain. We're going to be right there. It's going to be the same thing. Another undefeated regular season. You don't do that. That's unrealistic. Losing what you lose. So I thought, I wonder what this will be. And man, I think I'm just a little too bullish on this team, Tom. I really kind of worked through this thing to where I was kind of like, I don't see 4 losses for sure, and I have a hard time finding 3.
Yeah, personally, I look at it and I see 8 games that I think you should absolutely win, 2 games that depend on where the schedule, how it all sequences out, and then 2 that are going to be fights, 2 that are going to be absolute fights, and we'll see, how you come out and where you come out on the other side of it. And I think part of that, it all circles around what is surrounding Notre Dame on November the 9th. That can help color the conversation on how I feel. I've been pretty bullish the last 2 years at most W's and L's. Sometimes there's one deviation maybe in the summer where you've analyzed the team so much that all you see are its flaws. Yeah, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you've spent so much time thinking where you're going to get hurt that's all you see. Right. And we are in our last 2 seasons, 21-3 in the regular season. Is that right? 21-3. I believe that's correct. So if you talk about 12-game slates, you go 12-0 and you had a 9-3 the year before.
Yeah, you didn't count the bowl win, regular season.
Yeah, when we do W's and L's, that's all we do. We do the
so 12 wins and 9 wins. Yes, that's correct.
I mean, if you're trying to pick the trend here, yeah, you're going to land it somewhere around 10, 11. But I could see this first one, depending upon how it lays out. Because if the ACC tries to put Miami and Clemson and Notre Dame in a 4-week span, which they very well could, then at that point, maybe you're staring at 9.
It changes things. There's no doubt it changes things. If those sons of bitches lay that out again. How did you see this nightmare?
Okay, so Notre Dame's on the 9th.
Right? Yeah.
What if you came back and you hosted Clemson the next weekend after that? There's an opening on the schedule there. And then you could play Miami the Saturday on the road after Duke. So it goes Miami, and then it goes bye week.
You've got a scenario by which it's Miami, bye week, Clemson, Notre Dame, or Miami, bye week, Notre Dame, Clemson.
Yeah. What if that's the case? I mean, I think that
is shaky.
That would take it down by a half a win or so on the projection. That's a lot.
It absolutely would, and that would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Now again,
I don't think we're going to do that.
I don't want to do the thing which is like draft analysis, and then there's a trade, and we're projecting a trade in the first round of the draft because we're going to know in under 3 hours exactly what the score is here. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if I'm trying to picture W's and L's, I can't be too bullish yet because the sequence is so important.
I just think any reasonable human being. Now, again, I get it. A lot of our fans think that there's going to be real payback for our actions against the ACC. And so if you're of that mindset, then you would concoct a schedule in the manner that Tom just did, in which you think we're going to have to play some semblance of Miami and Notre Dame and Clemson within 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. That's how you describe that. And I think one of those big games is going to be before the October bye, and you and I theorized that bye is going to be, I think we said the 12th last hour.
Yeah, I don't think you're not going to put Florida State in a short week situation when there are 3 bye weeks to burn. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So I think we're going to get this right. I think the bye week in October is going to be on the 12th. It just makes sense when you look at the schedule with the games we already know, just trying to piece this together, cobble it together. October the 12th makes the most amount of sense to have a bye week before you play Duke. Okay, so we know the Duke game's a Friday game, and there you go. Okay, so you have that. Or is that right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, no, you got that right. We think the second bye week is going to be the Saturday after Boston College, which is, I believe, the 7th of September. So you've got 2 bye weeks burnt,
and then you have a third.
You're not going to put another one in October.
No, it'll be in November.
Right, and it's just a matter of, is it the 2nd, the week before Notre Dame, or is it the 16th, the week after Notre Dame and before Charleston Southern?
You'd like it before, but I bet it's after. It's too close together. That'll be interesting to see. But what I will argue, and again, I thought Clemson and Miami were interchangeable last hour. I'll say it again here. I think they are. You're either going to get Clemson early and Miami late, or you're going to get Miami early and Clemson late. And, you could debate who you want. That's fine. Everybody can. But it's one of those two things is going to happen. So one of those games is going to be you're going to play Clemson or Miami before you play Duke. And we know the Duke date, and we theorize that the bye is before Duke. So we're going back to early October for that first big game between rivals and potential threats. It's either going to be Clemson or it's going to be Miami. Whichever way you want to do it. And then later, because I don't think they'll push all those to late October, early November. I don't think they'll do that.
No,
that would be too obvious.
It would be, and I think also if you're just looking for natural landing spots to put the Cal game, I think earlier is better for that game. Typically, you see cross-country travel. Now, this is about to change. The whole paradigm is going to change, especially in the Big Ten, which is a national conference now. But it feels like when you've got games that are in different time zones, more than one of them, you try to burn those early in the season so that nobody has any travel fatigue at the end of the year as attrition builds. So I think Cal is going to be a September game. Again, this is no inside knowledge. It's just looking at the schedule and some of these things stand out.
Yeah, you can start to figure it out, especially given what we already know is on the schedule.
Right. Now, SMU on the road, North Carolina at home, those are kind of wild cards. They could fit kind of any which way. And
I think I would supplant your doomsday scenario with a North Carolina. So I would, yeah. I'm supplanting your doomsday. Whoever that doomsday, you have that stretch of 3 that you like, throw in North Carolina instead of Clemson or Miami there, because you know Notre Dame's already set. So then take Clemson and move them early, or keep them there and then move Miami early. That's how that's going to go. And I would sprinkle in a North Carolina, and that would make more sense to me. And that's doable.
Yeah, it could be like Friday Duke, Saturday at Miami, Saturday home to North Carolina, Saturday on the road Notre Dame, bye week Charleston Southern Florida. Yeah,
there it is. That's it's a fair schedule. That's amenable. We can do that. If you called me and I was playing the role of Jimbo and we were doing the thing where I can push back and say yay or nay on a schedule, and you said, hey, how's this sound? And you laid that scenario out for me, I'd say, all right, well, listen, there's going to be a stretch of 3 games at some point with 3 teams that's going to be difficult. That's the best one, because I don't think North Carolina is going to be very good.
But no matter how you slice it up with the week 0 game, something's going to be awkward too. Like there's going to be a difficult slate, but then there's going to be an awkward slate where you're going to have either a no contest type game or very little chance of losing, plus a bye in back-to-back fashion, and it's going to feel like you're detached a little bit. So in this scenario that we just laid out, if you've got a bye followed by Charleston Southern, followed by Florida, I mean, my God, you're going to be the most rested team in the country for a final game of the season. And then that also would bode well if you can, at that point, you would know whether you're in the ACC championship game or not, because your conference games are exhausted. I mean, shoot, they would be exhausted at the end of October nearly, because Notre Dame's not an ACC member.
Right.
So you would know if you have a bye in week 11 before Charleston Southern, you would know what you're resting for, not just a conference or an in-state rivalry game, but perhaps the big ticket, which is you're punching your ticket to the 12-team college football playoff with a win in Charlotte. Changes the dynamic of how you look at the ACC championship game. Of course, you always want to win it, but now when you think about it as an auto bid, that is a big damn deal.
I saw somebody in the chat wrote, you're right, Tom, but I saw somebody in the chat wrote that Miami in October is right with history. I agree with that, Zyler. That's why I've got Clemson being earlier. Ryan, Clemson happens earlier, and then they'll move the Miami game into October, and you'll have that stretch that we were talking about where it ain't easy, but it's doable. It's a stretch of Miami. I think you just got done saying it. It's Miami, North Carolina, and Notre Dame. And either a bye before or after Notre Dame.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for North Carolina to fit there, because that would be a home game to break up 2 roadies. You're not going to go on the road, because that would be 4 straight road games at Duke,
correct.
Miami. You wouldn't do that. So
no, you would not. That makes sense to me to put Carolina there. That's why I brought that up earlier. I think that's what we're going to get. You're going to get, they could do it differently, and they have before, but I think if you're going to take the 2 MAC daddies on the schedule, which in my opinion, ACC teams are clearly Clemson and Miami. So those are the MAC daddies. One of them's got to come early. One of them's got to be late. And if you're just adhering to tradition, and this is where Zyler's right, then you want to move Miami into October, which means Clemson is early. And then I think that's probably how that's going to go.
Well, if you're the ACC and you're doing your job, which, hey, man, that's a big if. That's a big if. But you want your conference games to be spread out, your marquee weekends to be spread out. And the thing is, which are you going to bet on? That Miami is going to be more relevant later in the year, or Clemson is more relevant later in the year? Because we're going to be relevant no matter what. I mean, that would be the bet. If you're trying to maximize the value, the ratings value of your product. So you're going to assume of those 3 teams, who has the best chance to be relevant late in the season? It's got to be Florida State right now. Has to be. So who's next?
Yeah, I think all 3 teams will be relevant next year. I do. I think Miami's moving in the right direction. I hate to say it. Nobody wants to admit that. Now, luckily, they're poorly coached on game day, but they've done a good job of player acquisition, talent. They've brought in talent. They could be a problem. That's a huge game. Huge game down there. If you win this game this year, they're equipped to beat you. If you win this game this year and Miami has to come back up here the following year, what you have on your hands is the scenario that oddly we've watched play out. If you're as old as I am, you have watched the Florida State-Miami series for 40-plus years. God, that hurts to say out loud. And because you have, you know that is a series of streaks, bizarre and elongated streaks, where you're crying in your beer because you just lost for the 4th time in a row to Miami. Or they're crying in their beer because they just lost for the 6th time in a row to you. I mean, these streaks are bizarre. This is what happens. Miami, the desperation, I'm saying this now, light years, what feels like light years away from that moment, but we'll remember it that Saturday. I'll be down there. I'll go down there this year. They are going to be a desperate football team because they know the deal. They know that if they lose to Florida State this year at the Hard Rock, which is Florida State's home away from home, but if they lose at the Hard Rock this year, they ain't coming up here next year and winning. So they know this is the difference between ending this painful losing streak or having it extend to what would end up being, what would that, 5 in a row? So you win this year, then you come back and win here next year. The following year, that'd be 5 in a row, right?
Yes, with these two. The two, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. That'd be a big suck it is what that'd be. And they know the deal there. It's hard to, you lose 5 in a row, man. Whatever success you're having in recruiting it's got to wane. It's got to wane. And Florida's in shambles. And we'll be watching this. Speaking of losing 5 in a row, just look at their last 5 games. That'll be hilarious. No momentum there. Don't know who they're going to get. I mentioned before, I know we got to go to break. I want to go back to this. I want to circle back to this because I think it's relevant to Florida State. I was talking about Brian Kelly and what's he going to do? Is he going to stay at LSU? Because there continues to be this momentum, this idea that he would take the Michigan job if it comes open because of Harbaugh leaving for an NFL job. And I would tell you that would have made me very, very nervous a couple of weeks ago. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
If you've been waiting and waiting for the perfect time to buy your new house, you'll be waiting forever. This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and I have been a mortgage lender for over 20 years. And I can tell you that there is no such thing as perfect timing. So take the first step towards your new home and let me show you what that really looks like. Chances are very high that you'll be very surprised at what I can help you do. When rates go low, prices go high, and that home that you've been eyeballing could be gone. If you're wondering how the drop in interest rates is going to affect your payment, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to show you all of the options available to get you into your new home. And for every single loan that we close for a fellow Knoll, I will personally donate $250 per closing to the Battle's End. Let's do this together and let's keep climbing. Call me today at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. Or you can find me online at loansforknolls.com. That's loansforknolls.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031. With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
I'm Greg Tisch, and I want to share how it all began at Tallahassee Community College. During a quiet moment on a fishing trip in 1963, FSU President Gordon Blackwell looked to Lewis Hill, who was a member of the Leon County Board of Public Instruction, junior college. When Lou told Gordon he felt the college would compete with FSU, Gordon responded, "Nah, you ought to have one." We don't know if they caught any fish that day, but they did catch a big idea.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.
I got to see him. Nobody else will. That's the end of that. Really quickly, I mentioned before the break that, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, and it seems like to me Michigan would probably stay in-house and elevate if Harbaugh goes elsewhere. But last night, I don't know if it's continued over to today, a ton of talk about would Brian Kelly leave the LSU job to take the Michigan job. And you'll hear the word fit come up a lot because he's a fish out of water in Baton Rouge. That said, I think a more interesting question is, should he? You think about the job that he's done so far. And Tom, I forget this sometimes. I don't forget this, but then when I'm laying it out like this, I'm reminded of it anyhow. It becomes more top of mind. He won the West in year one. He won the West in year one and played for the SEC title. Now, he's no match for Florida State. LSU can't compete with Florida State. They've proven that. But of the SEC teams, they're right there. As long as Florida State doesn't enter the SEC, they're in good shape. More serious and to the point, have you seen the staff that he put together? He fired people, and he went out and hired people, and it's a great staff. He brought in Corey Raymond and Jake Olson and Bo Davis and all these guys and the Hankton guy. He's brought in recruiters. He's got guys. He's got dudes. They're winning games. And even if you think you're a better fit to go to Michigan, like culturally, like it just makes more sense to you. You don't get the folks in LSU and Louisiana. Quirky group. I like them. I still think that you would be better off staying right now at LSU, given that, your chief adversary, Nick Saban, just retired. And you left Notre Dame to get real defensive linemen that would give you a chance to win a national championship. You'll get them. You'll get them year in and year out at LSU. They already do. It's in your own backyard. So you've got the requisite hosses. The most difficult game you got to win every year, and you already beat him, by the way, is Alabama, and Nick Saban just left. You've got recruiters everywhere now on your staff. Why would you leave? If he leaves, and had this come up earlier, I've always heard that Mike Norvell would be a serious consideration for the LSU job, and he would actively listen to that proposition. It seems like that's a job Mike would be interested in. Florida State fans never want to hear that. They don't want to hear that anybody at their job, Florida State's job, would ever be interested in anybody else's job. But that has always kind of been out there, that that's a job that he thinks very highly of. And it kind of makes sense geographically if you think about where he grew up. Maybe that would be the case. I thought we dodged a bullet with the Texas situation. Had this gone, we go back to like, how often are you going to have to worry about your coaches being plucked? How often are you going to have to worry about Mike Norvell's name being involved in a search as jobs come open? Well, if he continues to win a whole bunch of games, it's going to come up. But more importantly, if we remain in the ACC, it's going to come up every year. Now, the good news is, again, I'm going to reiterate this. I do not believe, personally, I don't believe he would have stayed at FSU if he wasn't hearing from Sexton, his agent, that Florida State is going to be out of here and soon. If he thought he was stuck here for the next 5 to 6 years, I don't think he would have stayed. So I tend to look at him signing here not just because he loves it here and he's building something here and he's won favor here and he's making a ton of money and they've invested. You look at the Florida State investment into football, into the program. It's all there. It's all SEC level. You see that the extended expenses now for football, elevated expenses. So those are all factors for sure. But to me, the big one would be that he was never – you wouldn't stay here if you were going to be in a second-class conference. So I think he looks at it as, okay, I'm in a place that's moving in the right direction. I've built something. I love it here. All that's true. They're paying me. They've made it possible for me to, expand my staff and do the things I want, recruiting and all that. And oh, by the way, we're getting the hell out of here. But man, if that Brian Kelly thing had started and the musical chairs was going on a couple of weeks ago, I'd have been downright nervous, Tom, because you would have had 2 programs that Norvell, well, 3 that Norvell would have been whispered for. It would have been Texas, Alabama, and LSU.
I hear you there, but let me clarify. So what you are saying is that because he signed the extension for 8 years, you think this is a non-issue at this point?
Yes.
Why would that, if there's an interest level, why would that be?
I think that I don't think that Sexton.
What would change? You just go 3 weeks later. You say yes to a different gig if you really wanted it. Just playing devil's advocate here.
No, it's not. It's not impossible. I just don't think that you would go through the mental gymnastics and the emotional tug of all of that, going through this process to arrive at a place where you say no to Alabama and yes to FSU and get granted all of those things that you wanted to turn around and do it again a week later for LSU. I don't think you would.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair to me. Personally, I think the moment, this is not trying to sow the seeds of fear or anything like that. I think the moment he committed, he's done. I think he's locked in, and he knows that the mission is here, and the mission's nowhere else.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
So we do agree on that, but it's
LSU could pay whatever the new buyout is. That's not a problem. That could be 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. We don't know what it is, but let's just say it's massive. It won't be an object. It won't be something that they have to worry about. They would pay it if they really wanted it.
Well, Brett, to answer your question in the chat, why I keep talking about him leaving, it's because if Jeff's talking about if this had happened 2 weeks ago, this could be big trouble. And thankfully,
big trouble.
Look, a lot of things in life are timing, and the timing was good here for Florida State. It's fortunate. Now, that's assuming that Kelly's going to take that job. I see some folks in the chat also talking about looming sanctions. I would think that the agent for one Brian Kelly would be asking, what the hell are these sanctions going to be, and how much of my hands going to be tied moving forward? If I take this job, are my first 3 years, are they like Al Golden's, or is this a slap on the wrist?
Well, given that the era we live in now sees the NCAA with very little in the way of packing a punch. I mean, this is not where Al Golden was taking over Miami, where they had gotten absolutely lambasted with serious, and they were, obviously under a dark cloud because of further investigations and all. That doesn't exist anymore with the NCAA. We don't see that. You don't see them hand down from on high these very penal, weighty sorts of judgments on programs. We don't. We usually see a slap on the wrist like the one Florida State just got. And we'll see what Florida gets here. They're being investigated. By the way, if we got what we got, this might be a chance for the NCAA to reestablish some sort of control and authority over programs in college football that they haven't shown that they have the teeth for in years. But you slap Florida State on the wrist. Wait till you see what was going on at Florida with the quarterback situation, right? So we know that maybe it's a potential problem, but really, man, over the last couple of years, they haven't shown that they have the authority to come in and do what they used to do, which is waylay programs.
Well, it depends on what they tie it to. If they tie it to NIL, I think they're setting the precedent, because I would argue that what we got is not a slap on the wrist given what we did. I mean, like anybody, this entire country, this entire country.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. You're going to suspend an on-field coach for 3 games? Oh, man, then you better be prepared to suspend a lot of position coaches and coordinators around this country, and you better do so quick.
They might very well be. And again, I don't think, look, he's able to coach during the week. He's able to be part of the game plan, and he's able to do everything you need to do before game day. I think on game day, on-field coaches, including the head coach, oddly, are overrated. Ask Michigan. They survived without a problem without Harbaugh for virtually all of this season.
Unless the head coach is a play caller. Like, not having Mike on a Saturday would be a big damn deal.
I think it would be problematic, but I think that, again, you sit down with Alex every week and you game plan situationally. Tendencies. Well, you know what you want. This is what we do third and short. This is what we do second and long. This is what we do first. It's not as big a hindrance as people think. I think over time it matters game in, game out. If you're suspended for 6 games and you're the primary play caller, you would start to see it be a problem. In a singular one-off, it shouldn't be that big a deal.
It depends on the opponent. And Michigan had it land pretty neatly for a few games there with different opponents that were not exactly Ohio State caliber.
I don't disagree with that.
And Penn State also, real quick, Penn State wasn't going to score 15 points in 8 quarters, so that's not one either.
I want to say that, again, I'm not bringing this up for the hell of it. I think that we ought to, in spite of this deal that Norvell signed, and we'll have to learn what the buyout is, but for most of the schools in the Big Ten or the SEC that could come calling for Mike Norvell in the next 3 years, the buyout is not the problem. They don't care. If they want that guy, the buyout isn't a big deal to them. So as long as we're here, I think you're going to, around every turn, after every season, be in fear of having your head coach plucked. And all I'm pointing out, just observationally, just anecdotally here, if this had happened a couple of weeks ago, we would have been in trouble because he would have fallen into one of these jobs. And what I mean by that is not an insult to him, but like Jimmy Sexton, the puppeteer, would have orchestrated the magic. That's how this would have gone down. And he would have interest in the Texas job, and he would have interest in the LSU job. And we know he certainly listened at length to the Alabama proposition. So that would have been 3. 3, what were the chances that he would have said no to all 3? We'll never know.
We'll never know. That's the good thing. Suck it, everybody else. We got him.
For now. Now, next year, when somebody goes south on these other, in the SEC or the Big Ten, and they're pissed, get ready for a phone call, especially if Mike does what I think he's going to do, which is continue to kick ass. Florida State's going to win a lot of games next year. Maybe more than a lot of people believe. I tend to be, I don't know about pie in the sky, but I tend to think they're going to be quite a bit better than I thought they were going to be when the clock struck 0 after the Georgia game.
That's fair. What I'm going to say to you right now is that in January, I'm choosing not to have fear about December of next year.
I'm not fearing anything. It
sounds like you're like, well, wait till the shoe drops next year when Lane takes another job, because then Ole Miss is going to come. I mean, like,
I don't think he would leave Florida State for Ole Miss unless he thought we were stuck in this conference for another 2-3 years. Unless he thought we were stuck in this conference. And it's an adult conversation. It's not doom and gloom. It's not, oh, be scared. You're a grown-up. Don't be a bitch, everybody. You can buck up and have a conversation and not be scared. It's all right. The bottom line is, if those 3 jobs had been open, we probably were going to lose our coach. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Local news now.
A 17-year-old accused of firing a Tallahassee police officer earlier this month has been charged as an adult and pleaded not guilty Tuesday morning. The teen, Joshua Tyler, is charged as an adult for attempted first-degree murder of a law enforcement officer, 3 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm, and firearm possession by a minor. A little after noon on Tuesday, January 9th, the dispatch center received a call about domestic stuff that was taking place at an apartment at Old St. Augustine Apartments. The incident initially stemmed from Tyler reacting to social media messages made by his girlfriend while she was at the residence. As the officer was driving towards the apartment, Tyler was standing in the parking lot, then began to sprint towards the officer while firing a gun. The officer said he felt as if Tyler was trying to kill him and believed the firing only stopped because Tyler ran out of ammunition. Tyler then ran through a golf course and was later arrested in a nearby apartment. Tyler is expected to appear in court for hearing today. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 77. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected with fog in spots tonight. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 64. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 76.
Orthopedic pain and injury deserves effective treatment options now, so you feel better fast. Whether you have joint pain that won't subside or an urgent orthopedic injury, we are the specialists to get you back on your feet. And there's only one thing better than fast care: expert care. We believe you deserve both. TOC, only experts. Learn more at teamtoc.com.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of, that nobody would know, and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.
And then tomorrow we do W's and L's, which is also fun. By the way, on Cary Forest Parkway right now, right there next to Ology, Social Kitchen is open. I found that out because they approached me about wanting to let others know that it's open and advertise. And I said, well, okay, here's the deal, man. I love to cook or grill, very specific things that I cook and grill. And they told me, well, go over there and meet Chef Chris and figure it out. They do prepared meals if you're really busy and you just like this week from hell or whatever it might be. And you say, I'm going to feed a family. They have all those meal prep things, services set for you. You can swing in there, get it. Premium meats. It is premier market stuff. And I went in over the weekend, Tom, and got myself some and had a big Wagyu filet that I said I nailed it in the cast iron. Nailed it in the cast iron. Got that little crust on the outside, then you cut in, you see it medium rare. It's perfect. I did it.
You want it seared. You want it. Yeah, that's did you put a certain type of set of spices for a rub, or did you just cook it with the butter and let it ride? What'd you do?
Salt, pepper, garlic. That's it. That's all.
There it is.
And we were done. It was delicious. And I got the sides to go with. But I will tell you this is serious. Chef Chris, who's over there, I had not met him. I met him when I went in there on Saturday to get the meats. I got several fillets and some other stuff, and they've got everything you could want. And I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot about preparation, about the food itself, about how to cook things properly. Just little nuggets here and there. They're open, and you can visit them online, socialkitchentlh.com if you want to learn more. And if you want to go by there, as I said, it's right next to Ology on Cary Forest Parkway. And I'm going to start utilizing them. And so I got no problem telling you that. So far, so good. 1 for 1. Learned a lot and had delicious meats, and it was good. So I was pleased.
So what's next? You've learned and you've mastered the skills of cast iron steak preparation. Is there something that you want to cross off the list in terms of an acquired skill?
I'm really good with seafood. I'm really good with steaks. I probably could use more education in other meats. I don't know. I will find out, like, what do I want to venture in? I would think, I don't know what else I want to do. I could ask Chris, I can tell you that. But meal preparation, I've always been really good at just telling my wife, I'll take care of this, and it's usually the main course, and she does all the rest. I want to get good at some of the other stuff. So I have to figure that out.
One benefit to being up here in terms of cooking and eating is the gas top, stove top. You talk about equal heating, equal heat application to the pan or the cast iron or whatever it is that you want. The open flame is the way to be. And so I'm actually taking up not with Chef Chris. Maybe I can video stream with Chef Chris to get a lesson or two. But I'm starting to take up some food prep, man. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
Food prep is fun. Food prep is fun. You get the opportunity to kind of any sort of meal preparation, anything that you're doing like that, people leave you alone. They leave you alone because they don't want you to screw it up, and they know that they don't want to distract you. It's your opportunity, right? It's perfect where you can get so they just leave you alone, and we all need time alone. Listen to your podcast, listen to your music. If it's a weekend, maybe you're having a couple of cold ones, whatever it might be. If it was really cold, maybe you're having a scotch while you meal prep and you're listening to your music. Oh, and maybe, just maybe, I was out on the deck with my cutting board, my music, my scotch, my prep items, Tom. That is a lot of fun.
Well, and soon to be the sound of baseball. The sound of baseball, along with the sizzle of the open flame or the grill or the smoker or whatever it is, they just go perfectly together. They blend together. And in just a few weeks' time, you'll be able to hear Florida State baseball. And then a few weeks after that, you'll get spring training in earnest if you really want to listen to spring training on the radio, which oddly enough, I like. It's the only preseason sport I like on the radio is baseball.
Baseball on the radio is always good. I will say this on the heels of what we just saw with the Hall of Fame. They really have just started putting pretty good players into the Hall of Fame. Like, they've really just decided you didn't have to be a Hall of Famer. You just needed to be pretty good. We are now at a place where lots of that guy was a good player for a few years are getting consideration for the Hall. Matthew, you were worried about Helton. Joe Mauer? Please. How in the world Joe Mauer is in the Hall of Fame is beyond me. That is nuts. By the way, I'll have you know, Tom, you know who has more hits than Joe Mauer? Jason Kendall. I mean, what are we doing?
The reason that he's in there is it's the 3 batting titles, but I think what we can look, I'm not defending the case, but
BJ Surhoff, sir.
Yep, yeah, I know.
We can keep going.
There's quite the list.
Yeah. Oh, of really ass average slappies.
But I think what we can celebrate today is that Buster Posey will be, without a doubt,
100%. He's in.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, because if Joe Mauer is
if
first
Joe
ballot,
Mauer's in, Posey's in with his pants down. He can do whatever he wants from here on out. He is easily in. That you are 100% correct. When they said Joe Mauer is a Hall of Famer, I went, congrats, Buster Posey.
There it is.
100%. I don't want to end up in this rant becoming Bob Costas, but good God, man. There are a whole lot of players in the last several iterations of this vote where you're like, man, really? Really? Because what you end up having to do is go back to a time when it was much more stringent and then realize you have to take the shackles off the vote. Like all those guys who were told no because it's not the Hall of Fame, it's not the Hall of Good, it's not the Hall of Very Good, it's the Hall of Fame. And that's supposed to be a cut above. It's supposed to be different. You can't just have been a really good player for 6 years. Like, you have to have been elite to where when the name is mentioned, everybody goes, oh, yeah, of course. And we're well beyond that now. So now you got to circle back all those guys you excluded if this is what we're going to do. And you got to start letting in a whole bunch of people. And I'm fine if that's what you want to do. But they'll never catch up. And so you're going to have this crazy discrepancy. You're going to go back and be like, wait. So Juan Pierre has more hits than this dude who was voted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. Juan Pierre. What are we doing? Seriously, that exists. Those kinds of comparisons. And, you know, what I used to do when we would have this discussion about Hall of Fame, you would always have to start with a very basic premise, right? You didn't have to be the best player at your position. You had to be one of the 2 or 3 best players at your position for an extended period of time. If the answer was yes, you were one of those, now we can have the conversation more in-depthly about the finer points. But in the last several years, we've elected some guys into the Hall of Fame where you're like, that dude wasn't anywhere near the best player at his position ever in his career at any point. It's just frustrating. Good for Joe Mauer. Great guy, whatever. He was a very, very good player. And now he's a Hall of Famer. Good.
Listen, man, I would just stay with congratulations, Buster Posey. I'm sure somebody in his inner circle texted him and said, dude, awesome.
You're in. You are 100% in.
Because you know the exact amount of time that elapses before you're on the ballot first. So you just say, hey, we'll see you in the summer of whatever that is, 27. No.
And listen, every fan base does this because I'll tell you right now, once they elected Todd Helton in, then everybody just called Joey Votto and said congratulations. For sure. I mean, we can do this now with a lot of guys. That's my larger point. You know, with somebody like Adrian Beltre, you're like, okay, well, 3,000 plus hits as an infielder, 450 home runs, 5 gold gloves. Okay, got it. You're in. Got it. But that was interesting. It was interesting.
I like this baseball question. We got a baseball question from Tony, and it's only about baseball and about nothing else. There more days till pitchers and catchers or Zaxby's locations in Tallahassee? It's a great question.
Tom, I know the answer to the Zaxby's question, but I don't know the answer to pitchers and catchers. Look up pitchers and catchers. I like the drama of the silence.
20 days.
Ooh.
That's a
This is
spring
here.
training. That's a spring training countdown. That might not be pitchers and catchers.
Well, yeah, that may be like tomorrow, pitchers and catchers, right? Like pitchers and catchers are very soon.
It is indeed. So the Yankees are apparently the first team to have pitchers and catchers report. It is going to be on Valentine's Day, which good because I love that sport. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. So pitchers and catchers report very, very soon, less than a month. That is awesome. Really good news. And that is, nowhere close to the number of Zaxby's in town. The 74 Zaxby's that are located here in Tallahassee far exceed the number of days until pitchers and catchers report or spring training games begin. So there you go. And don't forget that it's now 19 years that Danny has been championing Florida State athletics as a Golden Chief.
And also remember this, that MLB opening day is in just 64 days. So there are more locations in Tallahassee. If you're looking to get some Zaxby's fingers or you want to get the chicken Philly, more locations than days until baseball counts. First day. It's March 28th this year is opening day for MLB.
You might get snow. Mario, that makes me laugh. I love the idea. Can you imagine being a Hall of Famer? You're at home, chilling out, feeling good about the fact that your life's endeavor saw you reach the highest possible level, and then you get a phone call 6 years after the fact. Hey, we're kicking you out. We just realized there's too many of you average asses here in the hall. We're kicking you. We're getting back to being more exclusive. Give back the jacket, you bum. Maurer needs it. Oh, good work out of you, Tom. Good work, director. Be well, everybody. You guys have a great rest of your day. And at 5 o'clock, be watching Warchant TV as we do the watch along for the schedule. It'll be good stuff. Peace.